What's going on, YouTube? Back here with another Magic the Gathering arena video. Excuse me. I'll be doing another sort of deck tech video in this one, covering my red and blue deck, aptly named Hotline Fling, featuring Enigma Drake and everybody's favorite Fling. I only have one Fling in here at the moment. I could add another one, I suppose, but I don't know. So let's see, what do I have in here? I've got a couple of opts for cycling. I've got some control stuff in here. Essence Scatter, Negate, Cancel. Let's see here. I believe I've got Supreme Will in here. Yep, there's a couple of Supreme Wills. I have to note, this is basically a net deck. Spoiler alert. I grabbed this off of EtherHub. I will link to the page where I found this. I did not brew this deck myself. The original poster said that this has gotten them, I want to say, like a 70% win rate. So there's only one difference in here, is that I didn't have enough wild cards to pull one more Abrade, so I should be running 2 Abrades and 1 Supreme Will instead of 2 Supreme Wills and 1 Abrade. So that's the only difference between the one that you'll find on EtherHub. Otherwise, the deck pretty much plays the same, I suppose. I just, since I didn't have the Abrade, I threw an extra Supreme Will in there so that I could, try to cycle through and get the cards that I need more, instead of having more of the cards that I need. So until I can get a new Abrade, that's what I got. So we got some control in here. We've got our card draw, like opt, Champion of Wits, Secrets of the Golden Age, Secrets of the Golden City. Yeah, Supreme Will lets you pull cards and counterspell, so it's like kind of a double-edged sword. It's nice. Pull from Tomorrow for card draw. Running our lands here. I'd rather be running the other dual land. I don't remember what it's called. Let's see. Let's pull it up right now. It's the one that comes in tapped unless you already control a mountain or a swamp. Or not a swamp, a mountain or a... this one here. Sulphur Falls. This one, unless you control an island or a mountain. So, this is what I've got now. I didn't have the wild cards to pull this either, which is fine. I think the deck works just fine how it is. So, for creatures, we've got our Champion of Wits, Bloodwater Entity, Enigma Drake, Cryptic Serpent. He's a 6/5 that I can usually get him out as a 2-drop because of his ability. The spell costs 1 colorless less to cast for each instant and sorcery card in your graveyard. So that's an important part of this deck, is just using your spells or cycling them with strategic planning, looking at the 3 cards on top of your library, putting one into your hand, and then putting the rest into your library. So you can quickly start stacking up your spells in your library without having to cast every single one of them, since there's so many cards in here that are not creatures. There's only, let's see, that's 3, 5, looks like 9 creatures in this deck, and that's it. So, Enigma Drake is like a big part of this deck as well. You get him out, he's got power equal to the number of instant and sorcery cards in your graveyard. So that's why we've got Fling in here, because if you are able to swing and deal 10 damage with him, say you have 10 instants and or sorceries in your library or in your graveyard, the old Enigma Drake here, he's a 10/4, and if you can hit them for the 10 damage with Fling in your hand, and then you can play Fling, you sack the Enigma Drake and then deal damage to your opponent equal to his power. You hit him for another 10 damage. That's an easy win right there. So there's other utilities. Cryptic Serpent is good because you can get him out for so cheap. And that's just a big creature that helps you stay alive if you're playing against other decks that are running more creatures. You've got all the card draw that you could need so that you can try to get whatever you need in whatever situation you find yourself in. Search for Escanta is a really helpful card because you can just look at the top card of your library and just decide, do you need that card right on your next turn? Would you rather try to draw something else? It's helpful for if you don't need card draw and you're drawing, drawing your Secrets of the Golden City or something like that. You can just put it in your graveyard instead, which in turn will buff Enigma Drake, make Cryptic Circuit cheaper, etc. Bloodwater Entity, he's a good creature. He's a decent blocker. He's not too expensive, and his ability is fantastic, where it lets you put a instant or sorcery card out of your graveyard on top of your library when he comes onto the battlefield. And then Prowess is he gets a +1/+1 counter whenever you, or not a +1/+1 counter. He gets +1/+1 until end of turn whenever you play a non-creature spell. So again, not too bad for 3 mana. He's pretty good. Helps you get those important cards back out of your graveyard if you need them. Something like say maybe you decided to fling your boy at your opponent and he didn't die. He had too much health, but you wanted to get that damage out. You needed to do that damage. You can pull that fling back out with your Bloodwater Entity, and then play. You could even, if you wanted to, play a fling again, which would buff Bloodwater Entity, and then you sack him. And well, actually, I think that you would have to sack him before he would get the +1/+1, but that's beside the point. You can do a lot of things with it. So that pretty much wraps it up for the tech behind this. I mean, it's a pretty straightforward deck. Playing against I think other control decks is the worst, because it's just such a long game. Waiting, biding your time, trying to know when to play what. So that you don't get countered and not be able to play out your creatures, because aside from the creatures, there's no real real other win condition. You're not going to be able to deal enough damage with Lightning Strike to kill your opponent unless you get them like low health first. So anyway, I'm gonna do another video on this deck that it's going to include some gameplay. So I'm going to wrap this one up, and if you watched it, I thank you very much, and please subscribe, and check out my other videos. I will have my EtherHub page linked in the description, as well as the specific link to this deck. So you can find it there. Check it out if you want to give it a test yourself. It's a fairly inexpensive deck. As you can see, there's only, well, let's see, that's a 1. I don't think there's, I know Champion of Wits, so that's 2. I think that's it. There's 2 rare cards, no mythics. It's just several uncommons. So most of which you'll already have a couple of, probably. Enigma Drake and Bloodwater Entity. A lot of these cards come from the base. Base blue-red deck that they give you. So check it out. Give it a try if you like. It's fun. And you can see it for yourself in the next video. Thanks for watching.